Hello, my name is Leslie Collum, and along with Corey Wells, I am co-president of the League of Women Voters of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. The League is pleased to join Murfreesboro City TV in bringing you these candidate forums. This evening, you will hear from candidates for State House District 49, as well as the candidates in the special election for Murfreesboro City Council. We appreciate the support from Murfreesboro City Cable Commission and Communications Director Alan Bozeman, who make this broadcast possible. We believe that a candidate forum is an excellent format by which to get information to the voters, and the broadcasting of a forum allows us to reach the largest number of voters. Our forums are conducted in a nonpartisan manner, and key participants, especially the moderator, are never publicly aligned with any of the candidates. Our moderator for these forums has been provided by Dr. Mary Evans of the American Democracy Project at Middle Tennessee State University. In the November election, you will be voting for candidates who will serve in different roles. We invited all the candidates running in the state contested races that represent citizens in Rutherford County and the special election for Murfreesboro City Council to participate this evening. You will be hearing from candidates where the majority of those running for an office are able to participate. These forums will provide an opportunity for you to see the candidates and hear them answer questions about pertinent issues. Thank you for your attention as you listen to these candidates. We hope that these forums will be useful to you as you decide which candidates to support. Please make those decisions known by participating in early voting or voting on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th. Thank you for joining us, and remember, your vote counts.
Good evening. I am Rebecca Connard, and I will serve as moderator for the forum this evening. And before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone in the audience to turn off cell phones. Thank you. This forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, the Murfreesboro Communications Department, and Murfreesboro Cable Commission. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this forum. Tonight we will hear remarks from the candidates in the special City Council election. Before introducing them, I would like to outline the forum protocol. Each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes to make an opening statement. When all candidates have completed their statements, I will ask several questions. The candidates have not been told the questions in advance. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to answer each question. Then candidates will be given 2 minutes to answer the last question and make their closing remarks. So let me introduce the candidates. They are each seeking election to the seat on the City Council that was vacated when Mr. Gilley resigned for his new position as judge. This, of course, is an important role, and we want to give the candidates an opportunity to address vital issues facing the community. I want to thank them in advance for accepting our invitation to participate in this event. Sitting on the left and speaking first tonight is Bill Jones. And to his left, Bill Shacklett. And to his left, Juanita Thuin. Hi. Mr. Jones, you may begin your opening statement, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I would first like to thank the League of Women Voters and Murfreesboro City Cable TV for sponsoring this forum and making the candidates available to the citizens of Murfreesboro. My name is Bill Jones, and I respectfully ask for your vote for City Council on November the 4th. This is the first time I've ever run for public office, and I'm excited about the opportunity to bring new ideas and fresh ideas to our City Council. I believe that my experiences in the community make me the best qualified candidate for this seat. I have, over the years, served as president of the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce. Also currently serve on the Industrial Development Board, as well as serve as chairman of Destination Rutherford, which is the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Program. Murfreesboro is a great place to both live and work, and I'm anxious and excited about the opportunity to help form the government for Murfreesboro, because I know we've got many great and exciting times ahead of us. Thank you.
Mr. Shacklett.
Well, I'm Bill Shacklett, and I would ask for your vote as well. You know, we're at a critical juncture in our city's history. While we have some difficult issues to face, funding of local government, education, roads, public safety, I believe we're fortunate to have all the resources we need in our community to address the most complicated problem. The pertinent question for each of us is, are we willing to look beyond traditional petty politics and our narrow self-interest to work together to provide effective and efficient government for all the citizens? We stand at the threshold of opportunity in Murfreesboro, and today is our time to prepare the field of prosperity for our children and our grandchildren. It's time to lay aside that which would distract and divide us and press on to the greater achievements of the future. Because of my over 35 years as a small business owner, as a working volunteer in a variety of community service organizations, as well as having previously served as your city councilman, I feel I'm uniquely prepared to serve our citizens for the next 2 years. I believe this election and most elections are about how you define leadership. As a part of a family business that's operated for 75 years, I know what it means to work hard, and I pledge that I'll work hard for you and with you. As a product of a family that's been committed to service to others in our community for generations, I feel that I have the tools, the training, and experience to inspire our citizens to work together for the common good. My motivation to run for city council is pretty simple. I love this city, and I sincerely want to join with you in making it an even better place to live. I'm ready, willing, and prepared to be your city councilman. With your vote, I am prepared to serve.
Ms. Thune.
Hi, thank you for having me tonight. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and City TV for having this forum tonight. I too am going to be, this is the first time I've ever run for public office. However, it's not the first time that I've ever been involved in politics or concerned about what's happening in our community. I am married to Mark Thune, and today is our 42nd wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary, dear. I'm the mother of 3 grown children and the grandmother of 10 children. 2 of them attend Murfreesboro City schools. I am a realtor by trade, and I am a former freelance news writer. And as a former freelance news writer, I learned the value of statistics, facts, and hearing both sides of the story. And these are skills and attributes I believe that I can bring to the City Council. I also live on the west side of Murfreesboro, which is the fastest growing area of Murfreesboro at this point in time. And no other City Council member lives there, and these 2 fine gentlemen do not live there. So I would like to be the first one to come from the west side of Murfreesboro. I just have a belief that one person on the City Council ought to be able to live with the decisions that are made by City Council.
All right, thank you. We'll now turn to the questions, and I'm going to field the first question initially to Mr. Shacklett. All of you have told us a little bit about your backgrounds, but I'd like you to speak a little more specifically about what led you to make the decision to run.
Well, the most compelling thing, I think, for me has been this comprehensive plan that the city's engaged in. I graduated from MTSU with a planning degree. A lot of people don't realize it, but back then, Dr. Curry Peacock and myself and several others went through an urban planning program. In fact, our city planner, Mr. Adelot, went through that program about 10 years after I did. And I think, you know, we had a phrase, failure to plan is a plan to fail. And I think it's time, this is a great opportunity, a window of opportunity for us to vision into the future as to what our community is going to be. And I want to be a part of that, and also invite the citizens to participate in that process, to bring them into the process, connecting the government and the people they serve. And I think this will not only serve the present process, but it'll serve generations to come as we bring people and it's the government they serve closer together, and that opportunity is here for us.
Ms. Thune?
Well, I too was motivated by the Murfreesboro 2035 first public meeting that we have. I attended that, and when I came away from there, I had the feeling that we were going to pursue a similar course to what we've been pursuing, and I think that Murfreesboro is on the wrong path in regards to zoning and building codes. I don't believe that density zoning is the better way to go. I believe that density zoning creates problems for transportation, problems for school, and that we need to rethink the way we look at zoning.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, my reason for running is really pretty simple. I've been fortunate enough to live here basically all my life, moving here when I was 2 years old. And I think about all the leaders that we have had come before us that have paved the way to make the city of Murfreesboro a great place to live. And I believe it's our responsibility to see that we carry that forward. I'm passionate about economic development, job creation, education, and community in general. My experiences all have taken me through all of those aspects of the community, certainly in the economic development efforts. Been fortunate enough to work with MTSU as the president of their foundation, also serving on their College of Business board. And all the things that make Murfreesboro great are the things that I'm interested in, and I believe that I have got the time and the inclination to serve, and I look forward to doing so.
Thank you. Question number 2, which I will field to you first, Ms. Thune.
Okay.
Recent news articles talk about Murfreesboro's ranking in several growth areas. Describe the issues you believe this will begin to raise in the near future, and tell us how you would recommend addressing them.
Well, I don't think it's going to raise those issues in the near future. I believe that we're already experiencing them. And of course, one of the biggest issues and complaints that I hear is traffic. People are concerned about traffic congestion, and my opinion is that traffic congestion can be relieved by better zoning ways that we zone. We right now on the west side of Murfreesboro, since I moved in there have been 10 apartment complexes built, and there have been rezoned land for 3 more apartment complexes. When you bring in apartment complexes, what you do is you bring us a great big amount of people into a smaller area, and that naturally creates congestion, and I think that's one of the issues that Murfreesboro definitely has to deal with now and in the future. Mr.
Jones.
Yes, I think growth is the #1 issue facing the city over the next 5 to 10 or maybe even longer years. And I think the city council will need to be smart about how they manage growth. Murfreesboro is going to grow. I want it to grow. We need it to grow. I do think we can make smart policies that make the growth acceptable to the community that we serve. Growth does a lot of good things for us. I think for this year, if you look at the budget for the city, you'll see that sales tax revenue is expected to equal property tax revenue for the first time. Those are people who've come here because of growth, spend money, and help us provide services to the city. So growth is going to be the #1 issue, and smart growth is what we need to be about. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shacklet.
Well, growth and development is a natural result of living in a desirable place. People want to come here. And, but for government, local government, it actually is a two-edged sword. It provides additional revenue, but it also puts a strain on infrastructure. So I think that's why, as a government, we need to be, this comprehensive plan has an opportunity for us to vision into the future as to how we're going to address those issues of infrastructure needs and how we are going to grow. Government's role to me is for both the property owners, the existing property owners, and for those willing to make investments in our community. 2, reasonable expectations. We are the gatekeepers that choose how we're going to grow, and I think it's important for us as governmental officials to give both existing property owners and those willing to make investments in our community reasonable expectations of what they can expect, and that's why we need to be out in front of that.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, what can be done to improve or expand economic development in Murfreesboro?
Well, economic development is the lifeblood of the community, and many things can be done and are being done. We need to make sure Murfreesboro, which is very desirable, you can see from all the national rankings how desirable the city of Murfreesboro is as a place to live, to work, to play. So we've got to take advantage of all those attributes that make us such a desirable place to be. And that is the smart growth piece that I'm speaking of. We have to make sure that we are seeking out high-paying, high-quality jobs to give our young people something to do when they get through the school. We have to make sure the education system is the best it can be, as that's the foundation for those students. And when you go on an economic development call, what you'll find out is that those companies looking to come to town are very interested in your workforce. They have to know and expect that the people that are going to be there to fill their jobs are capable of doing the work. So workforce development is a major part of growth and good growth.
Okay. Mr. Shacklett.
Well, everybody has a part to play in that, how economic development occurs in a community. The chamber does the recruitment. They go out there and present our community. Bill and his IDB negotiates relationships and incentives for groups to come into our community. And then the role of the council is kind of the final gatekeeper to see that the growth that they are encouraging or that is coming to our community is we have adequate resources to provide infrastructure for those incoming industries. So everybody doing their job and working together, and obviously we had some we've got a good track record to some extent. But when we have pressure on us from streets and roads and traffic, then we need to kind of step back and see where we are and where we need to be going. And I think that's the opportunity that this comprehensive plan gives us, is to look a little farther into the future and make good decisions.
Thank you. Ms. Thune.
Well, definitely economic growth is very important for the City Council and for the community at large. I learned this week something that I found very unsettling, and that is that every child at Murfreesboro City Schools this year is getting free lunch. And the reason why they're getting free lunch is because our community qualified due to socioeconomic status for every child to get free lunch. To me, that's not good enough. That says that the jobs that we have aren't the high-paying jobs that we want. We need some entry-level jobs for sure, but we also need some higher-paying jobs so that our community does not qualify that everyone gets free lunch.
Thank you. Mr. Shacklett.
Yes.
How can quality of life be improved or expanded in the city?
Well, again, what makes a community vital and exciting is all of the different parts of it working together, all of the different agencies, all the different departments, all the people participating in the process. And when we allow access to that table, when we bring all the parties to the table as we're making those decisions, as we're looking to the future, then we're not just limited to one particular idea or a set of individuals that are making those ideas. And that's what I think is important about what I'm encouraging in my candidacy, is continuing to reach out to those people in our community to have innovative ideas, creative ideas on how that can occur. The greatest resource our community has is its people. And when we work together, we can accomplish great things for our future. And that's what I want to be a part of.
Ms. Thune.
I would like to encourage the community at large to do more to participate in government and to be interested in government. I think one of the things we fall down on is everyone is really, really busy. If you've got children in school, you're going to ballet lessons, you're going to soccer practice, adults in the family usually work, and they're just very busy. I think one of the things that I'd like to encourage is that the city reach out to the community better to inform them as to what's going on. 73% of adults that are online are on Facebook, and yet we don't post when the city council meetings are. We don't post links to the agenda on Facebook, and I really would like to see us do that.
All right, thank you. Ms. Thune, you again. Or, I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, we need to hear from you.
Thank you. Well, I think first and foremost, quality of life involves being able to assure our citizens they live in a safe community. We'll spend in the city of Murfreesboro $26 million on police protection this fiscal year and some $16 million on fire protection. Those are vital jobs that have to be done correctly, because if community's not safe, then you don't have much quality of life. After that, we need to make sure that the educational opportunities are such that, again, as I said before, we are able to provide employees for these new jobs that we are recruiting. We also have to make sure we help not only recruit new businesses to our community, but help existing businesses grow and expand as well. And lastly, we need to make sure we have the recreational and cultural amenities that people look for when they look for a place to live. Murfreesboro has all those things, and we need to help continue that.
Thank you. You've anticipated my next question, which I will field to Ms. Thune, and that is, how would you evaluate current city services of police and fire, and where might improvements be made?
Well, I definitely think that we need the police station on the west side of Murfreesboro. There's been some talk about that, and I think it's definitely needed over there. I think our firefighters and our policemen do a wonderful job. I do believe that we need more of them. We're growing by leaps and bounds, and so I think we're in the process of possibly bringing on at least 3 new police officers. I think that's a great thing. But we just definitely need to have spend more time and more money on our public services. They deserve it. I think our entry-level police officer salaries and firefighter salaries, maybe we need to take a look at those.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jones.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we spend a significant amount of the city's budget on police and fire services, and they're well-deserved. I think the exciting thing is that we are doing some wonderful things in that area. We've got a new police station that's in the process of being constructed or built out on Highland Avenue. We also are in the beginning stages of a new communication systems. I think it might surprise people to know that when the police and fire respond to a call, they can't even be on the same radio channel a lot. And this new communication system, which will be built out over the next few years, will be a significant step forward to allow them to do their job better and more safely. And ultimately, when they get called to come to our house for some reason, we need them to be the best that they can be and to have all the tools they need to be effective.
Mr. Shacklet.
Well, this is an issue that's constantly coming up with our community, even back when I was serving before on council, is the adequate funding of our police and fire. You know, that's where it all begins. Our safety, the ability for our citizens to feel secure in their homes, to feel safe in neighborhoods is extremely important. So it all starts with that. But so much of what we do, we have to look at our budget and to be able to, you know, time and time again, it seems like they're always put stress, and we put it off. We put off making those hard decisions to increase salaries of employees. We've done that time and time again, and it seems like our employees are the last ones to benefit from whatever available resources we have. And I would say commit resources, particularly in pay and benefits, to our employees. We'll reap great benefits to how services are delivered to our people in the long run if we commit our dollars to those people that are on the front line providing services to our citizens.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, the money question. How do you balance expectations of constituents with budget constraints?
That's the million-dollar question, as always. I think that, again, citizens expect basic services to be provided, and certainly the first job of the city is to provide those services. Again, like most businesses or households, there's always a wish list of things that maybe we'd like to do, but we have to live within our means. We've been fortunate through good government not to have had a property tax increase for the last 16 years. It'll be 16 years with this fiscal year. So we've done a great job of living within our means. I do think when the importance of economic development and growth helps show that it brings in more revenue and allows us to do some of these things that, that citizens would like us to do that we don't want to have to raise taxes to do.
Mr. Shacklett.
Critical to making those decisions is the relationship between the citizens and the government that's trying to serve them. If we don't hear from our citizens, or we have created some block between that input to the process, then it's hard to understand and set those priorities. But that's government's role. We have a budget to make. Government doesn't have any money other than what we get from our citizens. That's it. So when we have to be prudent and careful with those dollars that we're giving and that they're giving us to administer, and I think that's the critical issue for those that are sitting in this position, is making those decisions and setting priorities with the input of the public, those that are being served. And that's a critical issue, but it's also, I think it begins with the relationship that we have with our citizens.
Ms. Thune.
Well, first off, I am a fiscal conservative. I believe that smaller government is better government, and I don't believe that government should spend money where the private sector can and should spend money. That said, I also believe that the first priority of any budget decision should be the safety and welfare of the citizens. Next would become education, and then the other things that we might want can come after that. But really and truthfully, a lot of times city officials have a very difficult time trying to decide how they're going to prioritize the budgeting dollars. And I understand that, but I will come from a very conservative perspective in making decisions on budget issues.
Thank you. Mr. Shacklett, would you tell us what influences your decisions more, growth or quality of life, and why?
Well, that's a difficult question because I think they both play such a part into how we evaluate our role and our position in the community. Our quality of life is affected by how we see growth. But I would say quality of life would probably be my influence more, because I think the status of how we live, the level at what we live, the safety of how our families are raised, the education of our children are extremely important issues to me, and that reflects on the quality of life that we have. And so I would say I would probably base the majority of my decisions or lean towards quality of life issues as opposed to growth.
Okay, Ms. Thune.
Well, I actually don't think you can separate the two. I believe that the way a city grows and the quality of life are intertwined. For instance, if you have zoning laws that allow density zoning, that allow so many people in a compact area, you're going to have traffic congestion. And when you're sitting trying to go a half a mile and it takes you 20 minutes commute in the morning, I don't think you have a very good quality of life. So therefore, I think you can't really divorce the two.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, I guess my thought is that I don't think you have to pick one over the other. I think both go hand in hand, and frankly, that's the job of government, to manage that. That's what you elect city council members and the mayor to do. It's not easy, but again, that's the job we're asking for. So I don't believe you have to pick between the two. I think you have to be smart about how you deal with, anticipate, and foster growth, and understanding that that definitely affects quality of life. But I don't believe you have to pick between the two. And again, I think that's what you elect us to do, and that's what we should be giving our best efforts to accomplish.
Okay, thank you. You've all talked a little bit about this next question, but I'm going to ask it more explicitly. Ms. Thune, what do you feel is the #1 issue facing Murfreesboro in the next 5 years, and how would you address that issue?
Well, I definitely think the #1 issue facing Murfreesboro in the next 5 years is going to be the manner in which we decide to grow. We built a new school on the west side of town, and I think the school had been open about 3 weeks when they said, oh, we're going to be full already. So growth is a very big concern to me and a very big concern to a lot of people in this community. in the next 5 years, we've got to have a better plan for how we grow. The other thing that concerns me is the manner of our building codes, I guess is what it is it seems like we favor chain stores over mom and pop establishments when it comes to our building codes. I'd like to see us take a look at that. I think a community that is thriving and healthy has a lot of mom and pop businesses.
Mr. Jones.
So I clearly believe that responsible growth is the #1 issue that we'll face over the next 5 years, 10 years, and probably longer than that. As a member of the Murfreesboro 2035 Commission, that's what we're about. That's what we're going to study. And I do think it's a good idea to try to get, as best you can, a plan that looks forward, looks to the next 20 years to see what we can do to think about that. But again, we are going to grow, and we need to do so smartly. But that growth provides lots of things for the citizens, as we've talked about before. Again, I think it's important that I mention again that the sales tax revenue is equal to property taxes, which has never happened before. A lot of those dollars are dollars that are left in our community by people who don't necessarily live here. So without question, smart growth is going to be the #1 issue for the next 5 years.
Mr. Shacklett.
Well, I think we all agree. Growth is going to be, make it unanimous. We all agree that growth is going to be the biggest challenge for local government. And again, because, growth puts, it is a two-edged sword. It provides us with additional revenue as we grow, but it also puts pressure on our infrastructure. Mm-hmm. As Juanita said, when we have roads that are putting pressure on our daily life, it does affect our quality of life. So, I think that's probably the biggest concern of mine, is that we do that in a responsible manner, that we handle growth in a responsible manner, and it involves asking the difficult questions, not only of those making investments, but also of those people that are planning that future for us, asking all parties difficult questions so that we actually have responsible growth. And that's what I would encourage. And I've done it before, and I would be encouraging that to happen again.
Thank you. The next question, we're actually running fine on time. So for the next question, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to respond. And I'll go to you first, Mr. Jones. What is your vision for Murfreesboro in 10 years? Kind of take the 10-year view.
Gosh, if I could accurately predict this, we could all be in good shape. I think what my vision is to, again, continue to see Murfreesboro grow and prosper. We've made great strides in the last 10 years. I think the next 10 years are equally exciting and maybe even more exciting. I think we will see fruits of our economic development efforts. I think we need to make sure that we take advantage of a unique asset that not many communities have, and that's to be a college town. When you go out and look at what excites professional job opportunities and those type of things, a college town is a significant draw to them, as are lots of the local amenities. The downtown area always comes up when we bring people to town for those economic developments. So I see a very vibrant, a growing, an exciting city, and I truly believe, as good as things have been the last 10 years, that the next 10 years will be equally exciting. And I think if we come back here 10 years from today, we would not have been able to guess exactly what would have happened. I think things will be better than we even thought they could be.
Mr. Shacklett.
Well, I think it's an exciting time to be in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. We are at the crossroads of not only our state, but our nation. Lots of wonderful things are happening in our community, and I think in the next 10 years, I hope those things that are positive to our community will be addressed and be encouraged, will foster great opportunities and realize great opportunity for citizens to live in a vibrant community. But I want to also address some of the things. You see, while there are folks that are prospering in our community, there are also people that are struggling. There are businesses that are struggling. There are families that are struggling, and individuals that are struggling to make life, to realize the American dream in our community. And while we're moving forward, while we're claiming the opportunity that some of us have, we don't neglect the opportunity and the responsibility we have to those that are less fortunate in our community. It's a great community. We have a huge heart. It's amazing to see all the nonprofits that I work with, how they are funded by our citizens. But I think, you know, the tendency sometimes by citizens that have is to forget those that have not. And I would like to see not only our growth and expansion of all the beautiful things that are happening in our community, but also that our heart grow, that we continue to have compassion for each other, respect for each other, that we dialogue in a respectful manner, that we learn how to communicate as citizens with the government that serves us. I've always seen that as an extremely difficult thing for citizens, but I think that can happen. We've got to begin that process. It's all built on a relationship of trust. Trust the people that you elect. And it really starts with us as citizens.
Ms. Thuin?
Murfreesboro is a wonderful place. We moved here 12 years ago intending to retire here, and that's what we plan to do, is retire here. And that's why I decided to run for city council. I want to help make this community the best community that it can be. We already are growing and thriving. We have great shopping, we have great restaurants, we have a good medical facility, and yet we have that small town feel. A lot of people come to Murfreesboro and Rutherford County because of that small town feel. They don't want to go to Nashville. If they wanted a big city, they'd move there. So what I'd like to see Murfreesboro in the next 10 years is that our school achievement will be up, our road situation will be better, we will have more participation in government. Right now, I think 11% of the people voted in the last Murfreesboro City election. I have big goals. I'd like to see that move up to about 70%, actually, and everybody be involved in the process. And because when everybody's involved in the process, then we have a better city. Thank you.
Okay, and we are still doing fine on time. And because I've not heard anything on this topic so far tonight, I'm going to add a question here. And that is, Mr. Shacklett, are there environmental issues that you think the city should address? And if so, what are your ideas?
Well, thank you for that issue. It's something that that looming issue has been dealt. Is this 2 minutes, by the way? Do I have 2 minutes or just one?
You can take 2 minutes. We've got plenty of time.
Plenty of time?
Yeah.
Okay, because this is for me, a significant issue that we will have to address. We talked about it in years past when I was serving on council before, but I'm afraid it's that pink elephant in the living room that we haven't addressed. You know, we have a limited time frame with our landfill. And we have not done an extremely good job as a city government addressing the issue of recycling within our community. Mm-hmm. And when that time runs out and we don't have that landfill anymore, it will involve having another department, a huge drain on our resources. So we need to be, I think, proactive in addressing the issue of recycling in our community. We need to involve those that are informed about that, establishing a plan that will address the issue when we no longer have a landfill. And it's time that we do it. It's long overdue time that we address the issue of recycling in our community.
Ms. Thuin.
I totally agree with Bill. That landfill is the main environmental concern that we have for our community. It's also going to be an expense problem for us when that landfill shuts down, because at that point in time, we will then have to truck our trash off somewhere else, and that'll be a huge expense. I agree with Bill. We need to be looking at other ways to handle our solid waste disposal, and we need to be looking at that now, not when that landfill is full. Sometimes recycling is not cost effective, but sometimes it is, and we need to be exploring and examining some ways that we can deal with our solid waste besides just having to truck it off.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, I do think this is an area of concern, and you know, we have to to think about ways to take care of this good earth that we have in our little corner of it. We've been blessed with not having significant environmental issues in the past. We need to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. We do need to be creative in thinking about ways that we can handle not only recycling issues and solid waste issues, but water quality issues. We're fortunate we don't have air quality issues here. We need to make sure that stays the same as well. But we also have to balance that with the costs and the benefits of those programs. There's lots of smart people in the world, and I believe we can figure a way to deal with our environmental issues here and do so in a way that's balanced and that doesn't put an unnecessary burden on any segment of the community.
Thank you. Ms. Thuan, and this is the last question, so you may answer this question and make any closing remarks that you would like, and you have 2 minutes for this as well. So, what makes you the candidate to vote for?
Well, as I said earlier, I do have a background in news reporting. And because of that background, I have learned how to research facts, find the facts, and report the facts. And if I am the candidate selected tonight, on November the 4th, the community can be sure that I will be telling them what the facts are on the particular issues that come before the City Council. I will do that on my website, I will do it on my Facebook page, and I will do it in person to all the people I meet in the grocery, and I would like to also have some town hall meetings. You can only do so much. You have to see both sides of the story. You have to talk to both sides, both parties involved in making a decision, and that's one of the things that I've also learned through my real estate and through my experience as a news reporter. I think I would be very good at City Council because of those things. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jones.
I think this may get me more votes than anything else. I'm going to take about a fourth of the time I've been allocated to answer this question because it's really pretty simple for me. I love Murfreesboro, love living in Murfreesboro, and I'm happy to give of time for this. The city of Murfreesboro's ability to attract and successfully attract better paying jobs and opportunities are tied largely to the fact that we have low taxes, which I pledge to continue, that our quality of our schools are good and are improved, and that we enhance in every way possible our quality of life. Those three things are my priorities, and those are the same things I've worked on for over 30 years as a businessman, as a volunteer, as a husband, and as a father. So again, those three priorities are what I think are most important for the city of Murfreesboro and why I think I'm the best candidate for election. Thank you.
Mr. Shacklett.
Well, knowledge and experience. I want to use my knowledge and my experience working out innovative solutions in our community, looking at difficult problems and needs in our community and trying to find solutions with the people that are involved in that. And it all starts with trust relationship, a relationship that someone you can believe in. What they say is what they'll do. And I think that's what I offer. Anybody that saw and were experienced in my service on council before, I think all I can say is ditto. I will be the same leader that I was before. I haven't changed. My love for this community hasn't changed a bit. My perspective on public service hasn't changed a bit. My challenge to you as citizens, though, I have a challenge for you, to remember that democracy is not a spectator sport. That you need to get off of your best intentions and do something that'll make a difference in Murfreesboro, and do more than that. Encourage those people in your sphere of influence to participate in this process, to vote, because it's your right and it's your responsibility. And when you step into that voting booth, you have the future of Murfreesboro in your hands. And I trust that you'll think carefully and decide who will represent all the citizens' interests and can most effectively bring our city together and is prepared to serve. Someone who will listen, someone who will learn, and someone who will lead. I'm Bill Shacklett, and I'm asking for your vote. And I'd be honored to serve on your council again.
Thank you all. Once again, on behalf of the League of Women Voters, the Cable Commission, and City Communications Department, I want to thank all of the candidates for their participation tonight. Thank you also to the Communications Department for cooperating and presenting this program. And especially, I want to remind all of you to go to the polls for early voting beginning October 15 or on Election Day, November 4th, to exercise your right to vote. May we close with a round of applause for the candidates.